Welcome back to Speed Reels. Felix is a young boy who dreams of being a pilot. On first day of school, his mom, who works in America, sends him a t-shirt as a gift for his special day. His dad, Peter, drives him to school while he plays a video game. Peter reminds him that he was suspended from school before, because he was playing video games during the math exam. He also reminds him that this is his last chance here, otherwise, they're gonna have to move. The school is called Otto Leonhardt and is full of scary antiques. One of them was a scary face on a door, which moves its eyes. As they try to find the principal's office, a man called Mr. McCloskey stops them. He tells them that the room they stand in front of hasn't been used in years and they should leave. They eventually find the principal, but she ignores them as she marks papers. The father asks her why the school is empty, but she ignores the question. She tells him that she doubts it's the right place for him, for the lack of his achievements. She tells them about the rules of the school, which are, no playing or jumping, only quiet breathing and studying. As they go to classroom B, they bump into the school inspector. He and the principal, Dr. Schmidt, have an argument as she doesn't want to see him. On his way out, the door shuts itself before he walks through it, slamming his nose. The scary face on the door laughs at him. When he enters the classroom, he finds kids fly drones and play. He approaches one of them, Mario, but he acts mean to him. His two followers make fun of Felix. When Dr. Schmidt comes in, they all sit in their places quietly. When she gets in the class, she finds a cat on her seat, causing her to sneeze because of her allergy. She then tells Felix to sit in the front, next to Ella. She reminds him that he's on probation. She gives him a math problem. But he fails and students make fun of him. After class, Ella talks to him but the boys tell him to pick a side, either them or the girls. Mario tells him that he has to pass 3 tests to join their group. The first one is to enter the old teacher's room, at night. When he exclaims, they call him a loser. At night, he decides to go. Meanwhile, Mr. McCloskey finds Dr. Schmidt in her office. He tells her she shouldn't be late, and she should be safe. But she insists on marking the papers. The boys show Felix a picture of the old principal, who haunts the old teacher's room. But Felix doesn't believe any of it, and he enters while the boys hide. He enters from the biology room, and sees scary sculptures of animals. In the teacher's room, the painting of Otto Leonhardt moves his eyes, while looking at Felix. Meanwhile, Dr. Schmidt hears his voice calling the boys. While he plays with a golden ball in the room, she finds him. He hides the ball behind his back. She asks him to give her what he's hiding. He gives her the ball, and she keeps in its place. While she yells at him, the ball starts to make rounds, and he closes his eyes as he's nervous. The ball falls in the middle part, causing fire to rise. When Felix opens his eyes, he doesn't find Dr. Schmidt. She shrunk. While he looks for her, he almost steps on her. When the boys enter, he tells them that there's something creepy, but they laugh at him. As they all move around, Schmitty, as they call her, gets inside a handbag, which happens to be Felix's. When Felix goes home, he talks to his father about school. Meanwhile, Schmitty sneaks out of the bag. She tries to go to the toilet, but it's high for her new size. Meanwhile, Felix gets a video call from his mom, so he and his dad try to tidy the house. While they do, Schmitty tries to walk to the small plant's pot, for her toilet need. Peter shows his wife the school projects, while Schmitty is in the pot. Which happens to be the second project that he's showing her. The next morning, Felix wakes up and finds Schmitty next to the alarm. After they talk, he tells her that he wished she was smaller, when he closed his eyes. He thought it would make him feel less nervous. He takes her to the kitchen, and makes her a curd sandwich. When his dad comes in, he holds her and puts her in the sandwich. Peter offers to cut the sandwich for him. But Felix takes it fast and leaves the house. He holds the sandwich bag and hears her complaining. She says she'll expel him as soon as she can. So, he throws her in the garbage can and leaves. But then he sees the garbage car is coming, so he takes her back. Later, as he washes her clothes, he tells her that he'll take her to the teacher's room, and to make her big again. He finds the inspector, Henning, in the room after a failed accident with the golden ball. He tells him the school will be closed soon. When he asks Schmitty, she tells him that she needs one more student. Otherwise, Henning's gonna make it into an elite school. When he tells her to enroll him, she reminds him he needs to pass the math exam. He understands that he needs to be enrolled, if he want to pass and learn to be a pilot. And she needs him for the school to not be closed. So, he puts her in his pencils kit and tells her to help him pass the exam, otherwise, he'd leave her small. During the exam, Ella suspects something and tries to look into his kit. Mario takes his paper and the other two boys, and tells Felix that this is challenge 2. To answer their tests, Schmitty tells him that he shouldn't listen to him, then she remembers that Mario is the inspector's son. So, she gives him wrong answers. Meanwhile, the ink spells on his hands and on Schmitty's clothes. After the exam, Felix goes to buy clean clothes for Schmitty, from the Barbie shop. But Ella follows him and finds out about Schmitty. Ella and Felix try to remember all the circumstances, when Schmitty became small. He remembers that there was a sound. Ella asks her to say whatever she said then. When she does, they hear that sound again and see the fire. They find that same golden ball. Felix tells him that it belongs to Otto Leonhardt's collection, and she has his notes in her home. When they enter her home, they see her picture when she won a prize in physics. She tells them that she had a chance to work in America, but she wasn't as brave as Felix's mother. Felix and Ella feel bad for her. As they go through all the dusty papers, Felix finds out that he can open the ball. The ghost of Otto Leonhardt comes out of it. He's very clumsy and goofy, while making an elixir to keep his soul in this ball. So, they understand that the school is haunted by him, not by the previous principal. Ella figures out that history is repeating itself because of his spirit. The school is about to be closed, and the unpopular principal has disappeared. Schmitty understands that she's not popular. She asks them about it. Felix tells her that he only started loving her when he started to know her better. As soon as they leave the house, Henning goes to knock on her door. He says he has good news, and he drops a letter inside. Meanwhile, Schmidt sleeps in the doll's bed by Felix's, while he studies math. In the morning, he and Ella wake her up. They tell her that there are rooms on the ground floor of the school, which Otto made as playgrounds. She doesn't believe that, but she decides to help him as she saw all the planes. She understood he has a dream to fly to America, just like her. So, she signs the enrollment paper, but due to her size, the signature isn't legit. Later in school, they get the math test result. Mario beats Felix up when he finds he got D. He asks him who he was talking to, on the day of the exam. Mario searches the bag to find Schmidt, but she acts like a doll. Later, he takes his bag, but it's only 2 hours for the school conference. Mario has a cat, so Schmidt starts to sneeze, revealing herself to him. He decides to play with her, but just at the right time, the doorbell rings. Ella distracts him and he tells her that the gang will break up. She also records him confessing the abduction of Schmitty. He tries to run after her. Meanwhile, Felix runs inside the house and locks Mario outside. He saves her just before she falls. He puts her in the drone and flies her. As Mario follows the drone, he walks into the fence. The drone gets entangled in the trees and falls, so Mario finds it. But once he holds Schmitty, he finds out that it's a doll. As Felix and Ella took the real Schmitty and skates away. The conference starts, while Felix and Ella try to break the curse. Felix decides to go there himself. He shows them the signed enrollment paper, but it looks fake. So, Henning tears it, and tells him the Schmidt applied for promotion for the education authority. He has the acceptance letter, which was the letter he delivered to her door the other day. He leaves the meeting and enters the old teacher's room. He finds Ella and little Schmidt. The fire starts as the ball twirls. Henning shrinks too, and the flooring breaks. Both of them fall into a deep dark hole. Then the flooring closes again. When Ella tells Felix about what happened, he tells her about Schmidt's second job, and that she won't be able to help them anyway. She just used them to get back to her size. He gives up, but Ella decides to find them. She uses the stairs, but Mario and his boys find her as she calls Felix. As Felix tells his parents that the school will be closed, he remembers Ella's voice, telling him that this is about all the kids in school, not just him. He decides to go to school, while listening to Ella's voice message. Mario and his boys come out with Ella, but she fights back. She tells them that Mario's father will close the school, and shows them a recording of what he said about them. So, they turn on him. Mario texts his dad, so he sends him a selfie. They find a passage with the school's motto on it, "Let yourself be guided." He pushes a light switch, and lights up where Schmidt and Henning are. She finally realizes Felix was right about the ground floor. They start shouting help. The voice travels through an old megaphone. So, they connect through it. Meanwhile, Mario finds them and shows them his dad's selfie. They travel through it and fall into the geography room. Felix presses the red button which allows them to answer a riddle. It shows them a monument in the room, and they press the button of its country. They should solve 3 riddles, 1 for each latch. Meanwhile, Schmidt and Henning get scared of a cat that's very large in comparison to their size. Henning tries to scare it with his lighter, but the cat scares him, causing a fire. The door finally opens, but to another door. This time, it's the math room. Schmidt tells them to let Felix solve it, as now he's good at math. He asks her why should he help her, if she's leaving anyway. She confesses that it was an old application, but now she understands her mistake, and she wants to help the school kids. They open the door and they see them by the fire. They just have to cross a spinning cylinder, while trying not to fall into a pool of balls. They finally manage to cross and put the fire down. They take them to the old teacher's room. Felix tells them to promise to not close the school. They both do, but only Schmidt is back to her regular size. Henning gets bigger feet. Felix tells him he needs to mean it. He apologizes to Mr. Leonhardt and makes a sincere promise. So, he becomes his regular size again. Mr. McCloskey enters the room to find his cat. And he sees Dr. Schmidt. He expresses he's happy to see her again, and asks her where she's been. She decides to tell him over a cup of sage tea. Dr. Schmidt realizes that games are important, so she makes a big event for the children to play. Felix's mom attends the event, and announces she'll work from home. At the end of the event, Schmidt says the school motto isn't complete. The full motto is "Let yourself be guided by the child," and that she owes this discovery to Felix, who deserves to be in this school, and that Otto Leonhardt would have said, to have more fun in school. At the end, Henning decides to ask Leonhardt about making one classroom, for selected students with solid backgrounds. What do you think Leonhardt's answer to that was? Let us know in the comments section. And make sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.